Hey everyone, I'm Carmen. Today we're going to be talking about setting up your homeschool room in one afternoon. Sorry about that. And just having everything really low key. I made some key points so you'll see things pop up on your screen. If you're watching this live, if you'll do hashtag live in the comments so I can see that people are able to view me. And if you're watching it on replay, then just do hashtag replay. That way I know when you saw it. Feel free to share this information or tag your friends so they can watch along. Again, we're just going to be talking about setting up a low-key homeschool room. And my kids are running around the house, so I'm going to take pictures of just our little area. It really is nothing out of this world. It's not a whole lot to it, but it gives us a space to sit if we wanted that kind of traditional school area. But most of the time you won't find us there. So let me know if you can see this. I'm gonna give it another minute or two before I start talking. So let me know what's going on. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, just leave them in comments and I will answer them as I see them come up. So let me pull up my agenda here and there we go. So we're going to be talking about state requirements. Every state is going to have its own requirements. You can Google them, or just, to be honest, it's easier to join a local Facebook group for your specific city or your state to find what those requirements might be. I'm located in Tennessee, so our requirements are to submit attendance. We have to show that we've completed 180 days of calendar days of homeschooling, and we're told we have to do 4 hours of schooling per day. Now, that includes a large range of things that you can cover in those 4 days. It does not mean that you're sitting looking at a book the whole time. So for our family, we take more of an unschooling approach, and we do a lot of hands-on learning. So if we go to the grocery store, we include our math in there and reading and what we're looking for in our shopping list. So it really depends on what your state requirements are and how flexible you can be with homeschooling. We do not have to do a portfolio at all, and that helps us because that means we're not having to physically sit down and do schoolwork. Not everybody learns like that. So it really does depend. We have 3 ways that we can homeschool. One is going to be under the same public school system. We just submit to them our attendance, and they ask us to do testing in 3 of the grades. I don't even know that they're going to be doing that right now with everything going on, but we'll see. They're supposed to send us a letter in the mail. If you wanted to opt out of doing testing, then you can register under an umbrella school. And what you would do is you would deal directly with the umbrella school. The umbrella school will deal with the school board. But most umbrella schools, you have to submit grades to them, and you have to submit attendance information to them. So those are things to consider when you're looking into homeschooling, is what does your specific state require of you as a homeschooling parent? We have to have proof that we have at least a high school diploma. So either one of the parents would have to submit that proof along when we request to be seen as a homeschooling parent. So do keep those things in mind. Next on your list is going to be what you want from your homeschool experience. Homeschooling is not a one-size-fits-all. I don't think schooling in general is a one-size-fits-all, and that's something that's really important to keep in mind when teaching your children. They don't learn the way you learn. They may not even learn how their siblings learn or how their friend learns. And being able to homeschool gives you the opportunity to get to their level and fully understand how they are learning, specifically grade by grade, class by class, topic by topic. So some things they may get a lot faster, and some things you may need to break down or find somebody else to show them. So it's great when you have two parents who are equally involved in homeschooling that you can step away. Math is not my strong suit. So if I am not able to explain it in a way that my children can understand it, Julio, my husband, will step in and take over that homeschooling portion. So if you're just joining us, then please drop any comments or questions you have so I can answer them. I want to make sure that I know that that you're here and that you can hear me. So I did make a list of things that are a possibility of things you may want to consider, right? So you may have a child that learns amazingly with you, and you can do all 4 hours with them that your state requires, and that's great. But again, because we have more flexibility in not having to show a portfolio, those 4 hours can be spent cooking. We can go out and do hikes on the weekends, and I can count that as part of our homeschooling time. So those are things to consider. You may have a child who is really big into video games, and a website like easypeasy.com. It's easy peasy, all-in-one homeschooling. It's a free homeschooling software that you can just go in and sign up. They ask for a donation. I think it's like $15 or something, really inexpensive. And with that, it gives you access to multiple kids. You can create it, set everything up for them. You don't have to do everything through them. It does have religious-based information when it comes to the reading and language arts, and I am not the most religious person, so we decided to not do those portions. We use it for math and science, and then we're using woke history for our history, and it focuses on the Native Americans and Black history, and we're just going to focus on that this year with hey, give me a second, with everything going on. You can also do, oh goodness, hold on guys, sorry, somebody can't get on. Sorry, I have a friend who cannot see. Bear with me here. Okay, in my bathroom, yeah. Sorry guys, as I said, this time of day, it's hit or miss around my house. Okay, so you can focus on exercise and do that as a health class. Talk about potty changes. That's all relevant to what our children are going to be going through. You can take turns and have one kid play outside or ride a bike. You can sit down and do dinner and homeschool. You don't have to do it. with homeschooling, you can really be as flexible as you want it to be. I'm going to repeat it 1,000 times. Homeschooling is not one size fits all. And you can be as strict on a schedule or as loose as a schedule as you want. Make it what works for you and your family. And if that doesn't seem to work for you, then find something else that does. It's easy to say that you just want to give up because it seems hard, but I promise you it's really not that hard, and there's tons of resources and support, and you can message me any questions, and I'm more than happy to help you out and answer any questions that you have, as well as other homeschooling groups are more than happy to do that as well. So next we're going to be talking about setting schedules. So I know that it says the adult sets the schedule, and for me, when I work, that is sometimes what ends up happening is that things get set up around my work schedule. So I work from 7 to 4 Central Time. My kids are going to be sleeping at 7 o'clock in the morning, so what I'll do is I'll let them sleep. But if you are needing a come on. Does that look okay? It's showing really small on my side. Give me a second. I think it's showing really small on my side, but I'm hoping that you can see it. Basically, you can make a schedule, and I don't homeschool in the morning. I'm not waking them up that early to homeschool, and that's one of the benefits of us being able to do this. So they'll sleep until usually about my first break. So almost 2 hours into my shift, and then they will start to wake up, and that's when we do our morning stuff. So they'll wake up, brush their teeth, take showers if they want to, make their bed, have breakfast, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, thank you so much, Andrea. Yeah, on my side, it's like a teeny tiny little box, so I wanted to make sure it looked okay for you. So this is just a rough schedule of something that I found. That is not my schedule. I don't write, such and such time I'm going to do this and that, and it's never worked for me as a parent. So I'll write a list of things that we need to do, and then we'll cross them off as we get there. If you like exercising and want to include exercise into a routine as a family, then that's something that you can also do. You can have the kids join in part of your exercising, and include that as one of the subjects, as I said, for health, or PE time, or whatever you want to call it. With my husband, he does not have a set work schedule, so it makes it even harder to be like at XYZ time we're going to be doing this, because again, it doesn't work for our family like that. But if that is something that works for you and your children strive on having a schedule, then go ahead and make one and start working on it. That way they can get used to it and see that flexibility. But remember that homeschooling is about being flexible. So if you don't get to finish all the schoolwork today, or you're just over it today, then tomorrow pick up where you left off and do a little bit more. It doesn't have to be Monday through Friday. They say 180 days here in Tennessee, again, 180 days out of the calendar year. We have 365 days a year, so I can skip a week, come back to it, figure out what works best for my family. And that's what we did that first year. We really did just kind of, there we go. We did kind of just play with what would work and make the adjustments accordingly. Continuing from schedules, if a schedule works for your family, then create one. If it doesn't, then don't. say your family is used to waking up at a certain time, then continue to use that to your advantage and be like, hey, from when you wake up at 8 to 8:30, this is what I want you to do. And go from there. You can do everything from like brush your teeth to get dressed to my son needs it broken down to that point where my girls, I can tell them, hey, just do your morning stuff and they know what needs to be done. So yeah, Andrea, she says to get out of the public school mentality. That's so important for kids to get out of that mentality because they're used to having to raise their hand to go to the bathroom and ask permission to go here or to have breakfast. Breakfast doesn't have to be at a specific time. If on the weekends that's not normally how you roll, then why do that to yourself? Because if one day you cannot do that specific schedule, you're going to throw them off completely and they're not going to know what to do. So just keep that in mind when it comes to making your schedule. Hold on. Next. Okay, thank you for giving me patience while we figure this all out. Let's see. We did that. Schedules. Okay. So pick the zones for activities for meals. So this kind of goes along with making schedules. I started this thing. Have you guys ever watched Freedom Writers? If not, it's on Netflix, and I really recommend that you watch it. It's not so much homeschooling related, I'll be honest, but she ends up starting this journal with the kids and tells them to just write every day, whatever they want, whatever happened to them, past, present, future plans, whatever. And obviously it gets them learning how to properly put a sentence together. And she tells them, I won't read it unless you give me permission to read it. Now you can do something like that where you don't read it, but you get your kids comfortable in writing and practicing how to use a pen and a paper or a laptop if you're choosing to go paperless. Yeah, Andrea, that's such a good movie. I really love it. I was watching it this weekend. So you can choose to go that route if you like, or you can choose to make it as part of a language arts assignment, or what we do is we call it morning topic, and I'll pick some like random topic for them to write about their favorite movie, their, you know, if it rained tomorrow, what they would want to do, like anything random that, yay! Dee, I'm so glad you made it. So anything that really grabs their attention. My son loves Spider-Man. My other daughter likes doing hair and makeup. So I try to find topics that they can kind of expand their knowledge. And I tell them, like, look stuff up on the internet if you're not sure, or if you want further explanation, and go that way. Another thing you may want to consider is like in your dining room, for example, when you're having breakfast, go ahead and, like, I would do it my morning topic of the day. But if you are cooking dinner, then you can have something like this set up next to you and have your little ones learning how to spell some of their words. Like our last homeschooling year, I made Battleship. And what they did was they would use it with like whatever spelling words I would give them. And they would play to sink the other person's ship, which happened to be a spelling word. And that was really cool. And they really loved it. I just laminated the paper and put them in folders, and they got to play that way. You can also do where if it's dinner time, oh, that's your friend. Thank you, Z. You can also have like a cart and see all these different games. These are not my pictures. These are other pictures that I found because I never take pictures when we're doing stuff. I find it so taboo. I don't know why. But you can have different things like this set up where they can have different options, and you tell them, okay, well, we're going to be cooking dinner, and you can sit around and find a game that you want to play and let them pick and choose. And as you can see, most of these are homemade, or things that you can probably get at the Target dollar section, which is my absolute favorite section of the store, um, because they constantly have a rotation of things coming out that you can pick and choose from, and just make it so it works for your schedule. Let's see, what else do I have in my notes? We just found this like really natural doctor who told my son, who has trouble going to sleep at a decent hour, that he needs to start limiting his electronic time. Of course, to a kid, that's like murder, and they think you're taking the world away from them. So it's been difficult for him, but there's a book called 30-Day Blackout, and the whole family goes on a blackout for 30 days. It was written by a psychologist, I believe it was. And I got to meet her, and she has a family therapist, I'm sorry. So she has the family work together to do this blackout. And the only time electronics are allowed if it's for schooling purposes or for work purposes. And other than that, no TV, no laptops, nothing that would be out of it. And she says it helps families come together closer, and it helps reprograms kids' minds to where they can get out of like TV, electronics all the time. I know what I'm saying is crazy because I think we made it a week in and I gave up, but I do plan on doing it again with them, especially now in the summer. That way, when I restart the school year, they're kind of in a better way of thinking and can focus on what we're working on and then go work on other stuff. Let's see. So you can do, like, let's say you want to do breakfast time and TV time, then that's something that you can do at the same time. So it's limited to a certain amount of time. For me, on my lunch break, usually I'll already have the food ready because it'll be our leftovers from dinner the night before. And we'll work on math or language arts, something where I can give them direction or show them a bit, and then they can continue to work on the rest of it on their own time. You can do lunchtime and then send them outside to play for a bit, so that way they're being watched. Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. My girls are not as well. My older girls are not as bad, but my son, who's going to be 9 in 2 days, and my daughter, who's 3, are the ones who give me the biggest trouble to go to sleep at night. So then I give up because I'm so tired that I'm like, we'll figure this out another night. So it's just a matter of trying to figure it out. So here comes like the meat and potatoes, guys. So you just keep in mind, again, is flexibility and do what works for your family. Not every family is going to homeschool the same way, and that's okay. You're not living up to somebody else's plan, and you're not a school teacher. You're your child's teacher, and you're their parent, so you're able to be flexible and work around their schedule and how they work. This is very similar to how my setup is, in the sense that we have a board like this. So we have two. We have a whiteboard that I can write on, like, hey, these are the things that we're going to work on today. And then on this board, I let them hang things that they've worked on that they want to show off. So if they color something or write something and they want us to see it, they'll put it on here. We also have like our chore chart on it, and it gives chores for the whole family. but you can put your schedule. Let me bring it back up. If you want to make one. And see, this one has more of a block. So from 8 to 9, you're going to have breakfast, feed the chickens, go into the backyard, whatever you're going to work on. And then instruction time and whatever playtime, they're still learning. Minecraft is huge with the homeschooling world because of how much they learn. I don't know what they learn with Fortnite, but apparently it's very popular right now. Or you can do something like this where you can write what the goals are for that day or that week. I know that I was talking about our homeschooling, so let me pull that up for you. 1 second. Let's see, how does this work? Hold on, guys. Okay. It doesn't work that way. Hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Here we go. Okay, so you should be able to see this now. This is where we do our homeschooling, and I already have it set up for the new school year. It's completely free. So you would just log in, and it automatically allows you to pick what student is going to be working on what. I have it oldest to youngest, but it's all the same. And you can go in here and pull up their lesson. And then it goes to day 1 automatically. So it's automatically going to give them the day that they are working on. And it tells them like step 1, this is what you're going to do, step 2, step 3, and what, so on and so forth. Usually the first day in all of these classes, they aren't doing much. They're just walking them through like what they can expect to do. Oh, it didn't change. Hold on, it opened in a new tab. Let's see, screen. Sorry, guys. This is all new to me. Stop. Screen. Yeah, I think we've talked about it, Z, where my kids really like it, and as long as they're learning something, and they learn math and whatnot, then I just let them have fun, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be, what's that principal's name from Matilda? I don't remember her name. Anyway, I don't want to be like her, where it's like, you know, so strict all the time. I'd rather be the nice teacher, the one that saves Matilda from her. Can't think of her name. Oh, come to me. So this is what it's going to appear like when they choose a day. And then it gives them that step-by-step guide that they can work on. So give them like reading assignments. Oh, I hate that this pulls up in different pages because it makes it harder for me to show you. Decline. Sorry, I had to decline my husband's call. So anyway, sorry guys, when it's going to take me forever to figure this all out. But when you pick on this, on what, which one you're wanting to do, it takes you to that page and it gives them an assignment. If you're wanting to do something like this where it's free, then what I would do is at the end when they get their score, I would screenshot it and print it and put it in their portfolio, because it doesn't specifically tell you what has to be in there, just proofs that they did work. It could be coloring pages for all they care. And that would be enough. So just remember, like, your environment doesn't have to be a certain way. You don't have to have, like, I went to a dollar store and bought like ABCs and all this stuff for my walls. You don't have to have any of that. But if you do, don't run yourself over with a dang bus trying to spend all this money. Just go to the dollar store. They have tons of stuff that you can use to decorate the walls. And that's fine for them. You can look up, there's a test that you can take, and it's like a learning. Yes, her Trunchbull. Did you have to look it up, Andrea? There's a test that you can take, and it's like how you homeschool, like how you teach and how your kid learns. So if you were really wanting to take it a step further, then I would do that. I noticed that when I answered the questions for each of my kids individually, they each learned differently, which was great, because then I got to almost get to know them in a new way. And as we started to homeschool, then I started to realize, well, this one hates doing math, but if I put Cheerios or whatever and I have them count that way, then they understand the concept a little bit more. Than if I just said, here, do 2 + 2 and figure it out. So they learn and you learn, which is pretty cool. And then you remember things that you learned in school that you thought you forgot. My most important thing that I want you guys to remember is homeschooling is not school at all. Do not try to put yourself through that situation of trying to compare the two. I'm so tired of hearing like kids who homeschool don't get socialization. That's not the case at all, because you are able to meet other homeschoolers who work just like you do and who can get together after work or on the weekends, and they can get together. Your kids already have friends that they'll continue to see and talk to. And now with all the COVID stuff happening, I know that a lot of people are turning to homeschool. And those how does your kid socialize questions are going to go out the window, because if it's true that they're going to put all these like things in between them for them not to touch each other and look each other, I can only imagine the germs that are going to be on there, because they're going to start licking the dang thing, and oof, all those germs just drive me crazy. So just keep those things in mind when you're considering to homeschool, and answering those annoying questions from people about how do you do it? You're not a teacher. You're not, but you know how your child is and you know how they learn. And when you forget that you're not a teacher and that you don't need to be like a school or follow, with the neighbors in sports, you're right. When you keep all of those things in mind, then you won't care anymore what other people have to say. So just let it go. Let's see. So don't confuse it for school. Next is going to be creating games. Homeschooling can be really, really fun. Like I said, I created Battleship, and I just go on Pinterest and look up like homeschooling games, and you can find a ton of stuff. If you have other neighbors or friends who are homeschooling, you can do competitions between the two families and do like your own family battles of sorts. And those are really cool, especially when you have kids close in age that are learning similar things. Those are kind of cool things to do. Monopoly, the game of life, all of those have an educational side to it. So that just helps remind you that when they're in school, we got to play like Heads Up, 7 Up, and nowadays they don't even know what the heck that game is. So do yourself a favor and not stress over what comes next. Now, you also want to think about where you're going to keep your homeschooling supplies. So I bought a drawer, and it has different color like cubbies. It's probably like up to, I don't know. It's not super tall, but it's not so short. And it has wheels, so I can wheel it around everywhere. And in there, I keep like their notebooks per subject in like one cubby each, and then their pencils and supplies that they'll need as well. I would take advantage of back to school sales. They have already started at Staples, and start stocking up, because now you're going to learn why your child's teacher is always wondering or asking for more crayons and markers, because apparently they disappear just like socks do in your dryer. So definitely stock up on supplies, notebooks, color pencils, markers, all of that, so you don't have to buy any more throughout the year. And then keep them together. Maybe like every once in a while, just take out a new pack as you notice that they grow legs and wander away. And then just keep all the notebooks and stuff together. The only difference is, like, let's say you were gonna do breakfast and have them work on one assignment, and maybe lunch have them work on another assignment, and then dinner, which is fine. That could possibly add up to your 4 hours if you're really strict on wanting those 4 calculated hours. Then you may have 2 different homeschool areas in your dining room, and then if you have a separate homeschool area. But if you do something like that drawer, I can just wheel it to my closet and put it away when we're done. So that way my little ones don't go in there and start breaking everybody's stuff. And then I have to hear them complain that instead of the dog ate their homework, their sibling did. So keep that in mind. Now the extra supplies, I would not keep them in that drawer. I would lock them away and pretend they don't exist, because if you leave them there, then I guarantee you they're going to get into them and you're going to end up having to buy more. And homeschool supplies don't really go on sale once like school has already started. Let's see. Oops. Back it on up. And then I talked earlier about creating a checklist for your kids. My son Michael is the one that needs a checklist. Like, he needs to literally be told what to do and like walked to where it is. For example, yesterday I told him, go take a shower. And 3 hours later, he was still in the same clothes. And I said, did you take a shower? He goes, no, I forgot. I don't know how he forgot, but he forgot from the time I told him to when I turned my back and walked away. So if you need to create a checklist, then you can do that. And you can even laminate it. Laminators are a homeschool parent's best friend. And then have them check it off as they do it. So that way you're not constantly having to print paper over and over with the same checklist. Or if you give them chores, you can include it in there. Chores are part of our homeschool day. What else? Schedules, chores, anything like that that you want to laminate, spelling words, if you're going to do those. Anything kind of special that you find on Pinterest. Like I said, Pinterest is my best friend. So I literally go and find anything and everything that I can to help the kids like find new interests or find new meaning into homeschooling, because sometimes they forget that homeschooling is it's fun. It can be fun, but sometimes they think we're out to get them regardless. I wanted to show you this. So we all know what Pinterest looks like. Pinterest is nothing new, but if you literally look up homeschooling games, you can find stuff. So for little ones, you can have them do games like this, where you see this one's not laminated, it's in the hole punching paper, but you can laminate it and do your own holes with it. It's probably cheaper to do it that way. Look, Alexa for homeschooling, who would have known? There's tons of free resources here. So if you're like considering homeschooling, I wouldn't even worry too much about spending a ton of money the first year on supplies and new stuff. I didn't even cast this, sorry guys. So as you can see, like there's tons of games here for you to be able to kind of recreate for them. Word searches, look, math, and you can again laminate it. Uno. So there's just tons and tons and tons of stuff that you can choose to use with Pinterest. So remember to use that as a resource. And then that is almost done. So the last thing I had was to like make incentives. Now, when I was showing you Easy Peasy, I know the site was giving me a little bit of a pain. With Easy Peasy, they give the kids points for every activity that they do, like for every subject that they do. So you can say, well, if you guys earn X amount of points by the end of the week, then we'll do this or we'll do that. And then you can go in there and subtract those points so they don't try to be sneaky and tell you that you still owe them something. It could be an ice cream. It could be like a date with one of you or both of the parents, and then you hire a sitter for the other kids. It's not a must. It's a treat. You don't have to do it every week. You don't have to tell them what those points are at all. But it's something to consider, to especially at first when you're getting them interested in homeschooling. I guess the last thing I'm gonna say before like I end this live, because I've been talking for 40 minutes, my bad, is if you are really, really considering homeschooling, then look into deschooling. It's essentially when you deprogram your brain and your kid's brain from everything school related. You don't talk about homeschooling. You don't talk about schooling at all. You just let everything go and just have fun. Play games, go outside, take trips, go on walks, like anything that's not school related. And now, since it's summer, it's the perfect time. They usually say to do it for at least 30 days before you start homeschooling. So if you are really wanting to go that route, then I recommend starting now and getting rid of anything school related that may be out and around, and just start doing your research on Pinterest, on your state laws, on what the requirements are, where to send your intent of homeschooling letter, or looking for an umbrella school to file under, and go from there. And maybe keep a notebook of everything that you're learning to share with your partner, but to keep away from the kids. Not because I don't want you to tell them that they're going to homeschool, but because I'd rather you be sure of what you're going to do and have like a plan of action of sorts before you throw it to them. And I think they'll appreciate it more when they can see exactly what's happening. Andrea's over here like, yes. It's so important to just forget about it. Like my kids, at least if I tell my husband, tell him, and they're just around, oh, I think tomorrow we should go to the Amish. My kids are already planning in the morning to get ready because we're going to the Amish. So God forbid I change my mind, then it's never a good thing, because they'll be like, right, yesterday you said we were going to the Amish. And it's like the conversation was not with you, which that's a good field trip too, to go to the Amish and then for them to see how other people learn and live. But if your kids are anything like my kids, then they're probably the same way and saying, well, you said we were not going to go to school and now we're going to school. So take the summer to think about it. Pay attention to what's going on and how your school may function this next school year. Here, there's rumors that there's 3 plans. One will be full-time from home for the whole school year. Another one is that they'll do split days. So half the class will come to school Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, they'll be cleaning the school. and then Thursday, Friday, they will take the other half to school. And then the third one was back to school everybody. But they're saying that in order for either back to school full time or half and half to happen, the cases have to be below a certain standpoint or percent or whatever. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Regardless, my kids are going to homeschool, but a lot of parents are waiting for that confirmation as to what's going to happen before they make their decision. So if you're on the fence, again, think about it, do your research, know what to expect, where you need to send everything to. That way, when you begin, you're ready to go. If you're wanting to do easy peasy, all-in-one homeschooling, it's super easy. You just go to the website and basically create an account. And you can sign it in from every computer in your house, and they can do their work, and you can see what it is that they're doing because they mark it complete. I used Microsoft, what is it called? That's not it. The OneNote. I used OneNote to have them save their screenshots for me. And you can make like different, come on, subject, and you can have them save it by there, and it even puts the date in which that specific document was saved. So here, let me just show you this. And then I'll sign off. But let me show you how I did it. Media, hold on guys. Desktop. Yep, I'm crazy, I talk to myself. It looks like, so I have a homeschool tab, and then I have their subjects. Honestly, half of this I don't even know what it is, but I guess I must have been playing around with it last year. And then we do like a nature study. So these are books that we can read if we wanted to, or blogs or whatever, to entertain ourselves. So if, let's say, for example, we did something for music today, then I can have them screenshot it or save the link for me. And that's kind of my confirmation that they did what I asked them to do. I know that they could technically do it anyway and tell me that they did it, but when I ask them questions, if they look at me like I have 6 faces and 3 eyes, then I'll play it during dinner, or we'll do it again, so I can ask them questions. And then if you're going to homeschool and you do not have a good printer, there's a website called hardcopyhq.com, and they're super cheap to print stuff, and they'll ship it right to your house, and you can choose to have it laminated or bound or hole punched and everything. So all you have to do is put it together once it gets to you. So there's tons of resources. I'll be sharing a lot of homeschooling stuff in the next couple days for everyone to kind of follow along. I would also, if you would follow me on Instagram. I have 2 accounts. So I have a side of Crunchy and then Crunchy Wishes. Crunchy Wishes is my store with all kinds of natural products. And a side of Crunchy is just where I post a little bit of everything, my kids, homeschooling, my garden, everything in between. So just check those out. Ooh, I spelled that wrong. Sorry guys. Let's see. There we go. There we go. This thing is cool, but it takes a bit to get used to. So just think about all of that. If you have questions, comments, concerns, just message me. I'm happy to talk further with you. If you are on the fence and need more resources, then make sure to follow the page, and I'll be sharing more information here and on Instagram. And I'll post pictures of like our area and how I'm organizing everything, because it's never too early to get started. It's usually too late by the time I actually do stuff, and then I'm running around with a chicken, like a chicken without, with like a chicken with my head cut off. Sorry. So that is kind of it. Before I sign off, does anybody have any questions? If not, I'll just open up my inbox. 10 more minutes. Okay, Z. I'll give you 10 minutes. What else? Andrea, what else did I miss? Tell me what I missed. My kid's having a meltdown. Umbrella schools, back to school shopping. Hold on, I'm running through my mental checklist. I even made myself a checklist, guys. I'm very proud of myself. Oh, there's another homeschooling curriculum called Spectrum that I bought for language arts last year. Actually, I have it here. Let me get it together. Hold on. So this is, oh, she missed the whole beginning. No, girl, you're going to have to stop and rewind, because I am definitely not repeating everything. When I exit, this thing will give you a rewind option. Start it from the beginning. So this, for example, is first grade math that I printed for Aria. And it gives them shapes, and they can cut out pages and make things, and filling in the space for math. Yeah, she's gonna have to rewind it, Andrea, because I'm nice, but I'm not that nice. I'm kidding. And then this is the language arts. So let me show you a few pages. So this one, for example, is all about the vowels. So it gives them the letter, the shape, a word, and then they can trace it. This one is like filling in the space to spell a word, and it's the vowels again, which is pretty cool. And this is another page. So they are talking about syllables. That's always fun, because then you're like clapping at your kids and they think you got an attitude problem. Well, you think so when they come back at you. Yeah, homeschooling can literally happen anywhere. You're so right. Let me make sure I touch on that. So it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So if you are going to an appointment and because when you go to the doctor, that's usually quite a bit of time you're going to be sitting there. You can take their assignments with them and sit there, or you can read a story with them. It really is like whatever works for your schedule. Unless you want to have a strict schedule, you do not have to have one. Nobody's going to come and tell you, well, at 8:01 you said you were going to be brushing teeth, but that was a lie. You didn't start until 8:05. Nobody really cares what time you're getting stuff done, as long as you're doing it and you have that flexibility. Kids are in school for 8 hours only because teachers have to count kids, remind them to be quiet, sit down where they're supposed to, take them to the bathroom, lunch, and they need their break and all this other stuff. So it ends up becoming an 8-hour day. And if you look at the requirements, where like Tennessee says 4 hours, I think South Carolina says 4.5 hours, then they know that it can be done in less time. They just want you to really focus on the material of whatever it is that you're teaching. It can be home ec, it can be science, it could be language arts, it could be Spanish, It could be music. It could be whatever you want it to be. Our neighbors gave us a piano, which I regret. But every once in a while, you'll hear my kids bang, bang, bang on the piano, and that's just them practicing, and they'll learn. Eventually, it will call their attention for more than just banging on, and I may hear a pretty tune. When the neighbor's son comes over, he plays for me. Oh, look, pet stores as field trips, and they can read about the animals. The library, once that opens up for everybody, will be a great resource. Yeah, if you're going to the doctor, you can ask the doctor to just talk about how they started or why they started their career and maybe what it took for them to get to that career. And that gives the kids really a opportunity to ask questions, like if they were having, these people come into the classroom for bring your whatever to work day or whatever they call it. And it gives you flexibility. Look, when you homeschool, you don't ever have to worry about having to run out of the house because a kid is not feeling good. They can't give you that excuse because they're already with you all the time. And if they don't homeschool today, they're going to homeschool tomorrow. So one way or another, it's going to get done. So it really is just something that that grows with you and that you can customize to your family and what meets your needs. See, am I done? Did I talk for 10 minutes? How many minutes do I have left? I feel like I'm rambling. There's also websites that you can search for like further curriculums. Another thing that I like about Easy Peasy is that like their math or their music, whatever it is, it has so many links. So even if you save those links or use them later on for something else like a supplement or whatever, you can. There's just tons and tons of links, and everything that they use is it's free. So it's definitely worth the investment of $0. Other than the homeschool stuff, one of the sciences has a lot of lap books, and you can look into just including that on your own. Maybe now in the summer, that's something you guys can work on where it's not really homeschooling and it's interesting to them. And homeschool, the lap book is essentially like a science experiment of sorts, and they put all this information together and it's free. I know Pinterest has a lot of lap books that you can follow along with. So that's it. I was given the green light. I can sign off. So I'm going to go save my children for my children and enjoy some wine. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer questions for you. Have a good night, everybody.